What happens when we die? Is there an afterlife? Do we go to heaven? Or even worse, hell? Can we communicate with the dead? And if we can, should we? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 12 of Pedro Paranormal. Here with my co-host again, Carlos, on Google Duo.
Google Duo.
That never gets it's always funny to say that. Today's episode, we're gonna be doing haunted dolls. So we're gonna be talking about, I guess, fiction and the real thing, right? It's not gonna be just all true stories or anything, but we're gonna, talk about all the different stuff that, like films that have been made on, haunted dolls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just briefly on the pop culture of the dolls and go into some of these that are actually haunted.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. But you know what? Before we get started, I want to do an honorable mention to one of our viewers, Layla Bathory. And she was actually a guest on which episode was it? I think it was 10. Which one was the UFO? 10? Well, anyway, she was a special guest on the UFO episode, and she's the one that runs Paranormal East L.A. So she's the one that actually, gave us the picture for the the thumbnail of this video, and that doll's name is, I believe, Anastasia. But anyways, we're gonna tell that story, of that doll a little later in the episode. We're gonna start first with some of the research that Carlitos did on. What do you want to talk about first, Annabelle?
We're just going to talk briefly about pop culture of some of these dolls, what they inspired, and then we'll go through a list of some of the dolls that are haunted throughout the world, or the most popular ones. But pop culture, let's talk about some of the ones that we know. And what comes to mind right now is the most popular one, which would be Chucky from Child's Play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's everyone knows that killer doll.
Oh yeah.
Possessed by a criminal. He did a voodoo. He did a little chant, and he went into the plastic body of a doll, and he pretty much did it to live longer and to seek revenge against the people that did him wrong.
Oh, that's right. The actual person that's controlling the doll was a murderer, right? He was like a killer.
Right. Like a convict or whatever you want to call it. And during that last heist, his partner in crime, I guess his name was Eddie, he took off in the van, in the escape van. So he swore that he was going to seek revenge in the toy store where he was killed after he did that chant. Or, he was shot and then did the chant and died.
Yeah. So how was it that he came back? Did he make a pact with the devil or something? Or
in the second movie, or
when he possessed the doll, how was it that he possessed the doll? Like
he did some. It was a voodoo chant, and because he had later on in the story, you're introduced to his friend. I forget his name, but he does voodoo, and that's one of the ways that Chucky finds out that he can actually go back into human form was through another spell. And he was told by his friend in voodoo by going into his own closet and bringing out that friend's voodoo doll, and pretty much saying, "Hey, tell me how to do it, or else I'm going to break your legs." And then he starts breaking his legs, and the actual physical person, starts falling down, and he finally gets the information that he wants.
So they ended up putting the backstory in not the first part. Was it like the second movie?
No. In the first movie, it was all explained on how he did it in the first movie.
Because you know what, the first movie, it's kind of blurry to me. I think the most of the stuff I remember from the first film was just the Chucky doll trying to kill the mom and the relationship with him and the kid. I kind of just blurred that whole first part. I remember there was like a robbery, right? That's how it starts. There's a robbery, and then he's dying. But then from there on, I kind of just, I don't remember. But I do remember. I do remember that in I think the second or the third part. That's when they go more into detail, right, of the backstory. Or am I wrong?
Well, maybe in the second movie. I haven't seen the second movie in years, but I just recently watched the first one, and that's how I'm explaining right now with the backstory and how this guy, he's clearly an American criminal, and he's not, all of a sudden he's talking voodoo and doing a chance. Like, how is this happening? How's this a possibility? And but then later on in that same movie, his person that comes out that practices that religion tells him how to go into another body, in this case, the child, to become real. Because the longer that Charles is the name of the criminal stays, the longer that Charles stays in the body of Chucky or the little buddy, whatever his name is, the more it becomes real, and he can get hurt and have pain and all that, and he doesn't want to be in that form.
Yeah, that's true. Man, you know what? Some of the stuff I was reading online about haunted dolls, it talked about how a lot of these dolls that are haunted, especially like the older dolls, they were made with human hair.
Oh, okay.
And so that's one of the things they think is the reason why some of these dolls are, especially the real old creepy looking ones. That's why they think some of these are possessed, because of the, they think that the actual person that the hair belonged to, that passed away, takes possession of the doll and lives through the doll. I mean, I don't know if that's true,
but I can kind of see why they would do that back then, because maybe there was a lack of resources. Maybe no one can, there wasn't a lot of plastics or any horsetail hair or manes to use to put on the doll. So maybe they would do that, since it was available a lot.
Well, I mean, even today, like if you compare it to the hair industry of women that get extensions, a lot of times I know they prefer to have real human hair because it's more realistic. Yeah. So maybe it was the same thing, like a doll with real hair, kind of like the hook to sell the doll, it's almost it's lifelike.
Well, it kind of shows that our tastes have changed throughout the decades, if not the centuries, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if someone would still make. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's someone that makes dolls like that.
Maybe
I wouldn't be surprised if you could find that on eBay.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, getting back to Chucky.
Yeah, there's Chucky, and there's that haunted doll that's pretty famous. And there's been other sources that we've been accustomed to or scared by. The Twilight Zone has an episode on a doll, and Talkie Tina, and that episode is season 5, episode 6, where a little girl loves this little doll that talks, Talkie Tina.
Yeah.
And she's playing with it so much, but the dad is very, I guess he gets very, not aggressive, but what's the word again?
Irate?
I'm looking for. Yeah, he gets very irate very easily.
Yeah.
He starts saying to his daughter, "Put that doll away. Stop putting it away," and this and that. And the kids, next scene, the kids feeding the dolls some food. And he goes, "You eat first, yada yada." So the doll starts talking back like, "I don't like you very much," because it's all kind to the daughter, but it's pretty mean to the dad.
Yeah.
And when the doll says this to the dad just throws the doll across. And from then on, the doll wants to seek revenge on the father. So the dad grabs the doll. Besides throwing it, the dad tries to chop off its head and do all kinds of harm to the doll, but the doll won't die.
Man.
Finally, towards the end, the doll gets its revenge. The father is doing
spoilers.
I don't know if he's from one place to the other, but he's on top of the stairs on the second story. He trips on the doll, comes down the steps, and then passes away. And his wife is there trying to get him up, but he's long gone.
Yeah.
So Talkie Tina has her revenge.
Well, you know what? I don't remember that episode, and I know I've seen all the Twilight Zone episodes, but the one I do remember is the one about the what do you call the ones where the puppets that they do stand up, like it's not a man, is it a mannequin?
Ventriloquist dummy.
Yes, and Twilight Zone has, I think, a couple of those episodes where the guy finds a doll and he's like, "Oh, you could use me to become famous and stuff." I don't know if you remember that one, so I remember that, and I think that's where Goosebumps got their idea to do the whole slappy and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I know it's just in cartoons and stuff.
So they're all evolutionary steps, and they all borrow from one thing or another. Mm-hmm. And Chucky and Goosebumps and the Twilight, well, not the Twilight Zone, but Chucky's and Goosebumps, they borrowed from some of these famous, actual, supposedly haunted dolls.
Uh-huh.
And There's quite a bit of these in the United States. But first, before we go to that, I want to talk a little bit about periophobia, or the fear of dolls. And that's just a little bit. So I'm sure there's some adults that have that. I'm sure there's some kids too.
you know what? Actually, my daughter, my youngest one, she's afraid of certain dolls. Not like the not stuffed animals, but actual dolls. That look like kids. Because over the years on her birthday, she's gotten different kinds of dolls. But the thing is, whenever she has one in her room, she'll call me before she goes to sleep to take the doll out and put it in the hallway or put it in the dining room, because she's afraid that it's gonna get up in the middle of the night, I guess.
I would probably do the same thing. I would get that doll out of here. So some of the symptoms of periophobia is feelings of intense fear, difficulty breathing, chest pain or tightness, fast heart beats, sweating, shaking, panic attacks, distress, screaming, trying to flee, nausea, and lightheadedness. So I think I have maybe one or two of those.
Is that similar? Is that similar to people that are afraid of clowns and stuff?
I guess so. Maybe it's just not the actual thing, but it's the thought of what it's gonna do.
I mean, because I know there's people that are even scared of clown paintings. It doesn't have to be an actual doll, just a painting alone. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I forget what the name of that is, but this
clownophobia. Yeah, but the you know what, there was also another a film, I forgot what it was. Well, I think it's called Dolly Dearest. Do you remember that from back in the 70s? It was a black and white film. I think it was older than the 70s, probably the 60s. And it's about the same thing. This little girl gets a doll, and I guess things start moving around the house, and there's a scene where the mom's walking down the stairs, almost similar to what you said of the Twilight Zone. She's walking down the stairs, and I think the doll has a knife and tries to cut her, and she trips, and it's a good movie. It's called Dolly Dearest.
Okay, I'll watch that as soon as the sun rises in the morning.
Yeah.
So going back to this fear of dolls, I wanted to mention two places. One of them is in Ohio, the Doll Museum at the Old Rectory in Worthington, Ohio. And then there's this other one, it's called Pollock's Toy Museum in the UK. And both of these museums, they house dolls from different years. So, some of them are for the 1900s, 1800s, all the way up to the modern times. But mostly they're the old porcelain ones, the ones that are...
the creepy looking ones.
Plastic, but the ears are rubber, so they move, or the Betsy Wetsies and beyonds. But they have the creepier ones too. And this place called Pollock's Toy Museum, it's kind of cool because it's a traditional Toy Story. It's a traditional toy museum with multiple... I'm trying to think Happy Thoughts. Toy Story, Happy Thoughts. It's a traditional toy museum with multiple areas and stairs or floors. So in the beginning, you'll see all the little cars and all the little paper toys from back in the day, and little racers and automobiles and horses. But that's where the magic is. You're looking at all these wonderful toys, and you're so happy looking at them. But then they put the doll area towards the end.
And the
funny thing is, during the winter times in the UK, I guess it gets darker a little earlier. So when people go there to visit, they have all this beautiful thoughts, and then they go to the end, and some of the visitors there, they don't even want to go through that doll area. They're like, no, I'm not going to do it. And the funny thing is, that's the only way to get out of the museum. They have to backpedal and go all the way backwards in order to
just go through the dolls.
Yeah, just run through.
And you know what? It is I believe that museum, if I'm not mistaken, is where Zach Baggins and the Ghost Adventures did a ghost hunt there. Is that the same place?
The Pollock's Toy Museum in UK.
Is it?
I don't know. I haven't read up on that.
I did see an episode of Ghost Adventures where it's it can't be the UK though. I think this is Texas or something, because it looks like desert outside. And
maybe it's the one in Ohio, the one in Worthington, Ohio.
Maybe.
The Doll Museum at the old rectory.
Probably. I think it's that one. Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay. So, I mean, that'd be cool to if we could ever do a trip and actually go to one of these places, I'd be interested to check it out.
Yeah. So there you have it for the museums. Now, the first doll that I want to talk about that's haunted is this one called Mandy. And the former owner said that this doll was very strange, and just this feeling just surrounded her of just bad feelings. Mm-hmm. With this doll, what was creepy about it is that baby's cries could be heard coming from it. Its screams drifting up and down the basement in the middle of the night. With time, when they put it in the basement, they just couldn't be ignored anymore, and that's when the owner of Mandy was like, "That's it, I gotta get rid of this doll. It's just making too much crying, and it's just too much for that person, right?" So I guess it was donated to a museum. Let's see. So once it was in the museum and put on display, people heard unexplained footsteps when they were around the museum. Lunches would disappear from the fridges and turn up in drawers. So there was a lot of mischief going on.
Oh, okay. Troublemaking.
It was a troublemaking doll. This doll was so much of a troublemaker that she was put into her own area because supposedly this doll would harm the other dolls around it.
Oh, so, that makes it even better.
Yeah, right?
I like that.
Yeah, so this doll's...
it's a bully doll.
Yeah, it's a very jealous girl. And Mandy is located in the Quizno and District Museum in British Columbia. She is 100 years old.
So she's just in a regular museum. Like you could just walk into. It's not like a special like ghost museum or anything. Just a regular museum.
Right.
Oh, that's crazy.
Probably just a regular museum on display with a little description of what this doll has done.
Where it came from.
I'm sure. Yeah, behind glass, hopefully.
Well, you know what? That kind of reminds me of the doll we used for our thumbnail for the video. From Layla, Anastasia, because this doll, I guess the family that used to own it before, they actually purchased it at a thrift store, because they purchased it for the daughter, but the mom used to like painting them, like making them scary. So I guess she must have had that kind of taste, like get dolls and make them look haunted and stuff. And you know what? There's people that do that now. You could actually buy them on eBay, like all. They get regular dolls and creep them all out and paint them.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's a demand for that. I'm thinking some of those are looking pretty cool.
Even just as Halloween decorations. But yeah, so this
or create little themes for each one. Just create your own collection.
Yeah, but this lady, she purchased the doll at a thrift store, and the thing is, I guess the little girl started having nightmares. Let me see real quick. I just want to make sure I get the story right. Sorry, Layla. So she was having like night terrors, and I guess one night the mom was working on the doll, like in the kitchen, on the table, and as you can see in the picture, like she has black around the eyes and all that stuff. But she was painting it. And the light bulb, right above, it exploded. We've had you've seen a light bulb explode before, right?
Oh yeah, the older ones are.
Yeah. So, anyways, the light bulb exploded, but it let a little bit, I guess, too much heat, and it ended up burning the doll, like a little bit.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, I guess that's when they were like, you know what, we don't want the doll anymore, especially because this happened right here, and so that's when they contacted Layla Bathory. And then she was glad to take it because she's all into all that stuff.
Nope.
But
yeah, that's right. On her live when she went live on Facebook, she had the doll there, and I think she explained about the dress and why those marks were there, right?
Yeah, why it was because it has the burn marks. But so she took the doll, and let me see here. I guess when people go to visit her, like they feel like almost like it's like kind of hypnotic, where they feel kind of like in trance when they look at the doll. And let me see here. I guess nothing's really happened to them. They've never had anything crazy like like bulbs exploding. But she says that they have heard her, I guess, move. And let me see. I think that's about it. So I guess with the activity was mostly with the original family that purchased it.
Right.
And you know what? That's another thing that you know, when there's hauntings, and we've talked about this before, it seems like when there's a child in the house, or like even like a young adult teenager, that's when the I don't know if the spirits or whatever, the energy gets stronger. So I believe that's probably why, you know, it became so active, because of the child that was in the house.
Right.
But yeah, so anyways, that's the backstory of you know, our picture, Anastasia. And again, thank you, Layla. But yeah, so any other stories or true stories?
Just want to briefly go through Harold, and this is supposedly a vicious doll, but I'm not certain why. But let's read here a little bit. So this guy pretty much won Harold in an online auction in 2004. But then after a year, kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, the doll started doing all kinds of creepy stuff, tormenting behavior, and pretty much the owner was just like, this is too much, I can't deal with this. I guess just being around that doll too kind of created some sort of like, I don't know, fear. Mm-hmm. And I guess someone just described it as the doll having this a dark force, unlike anything they've ever come across in any kind of paranormal literature. Because I guess this person that had it for a while was actually a paranormal investigator.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see. This doll, Harold, is currently owned by Anthony Kanata. Okay. And he is a paranormal investigator and author. So he owns this doll, and he says that he's never experienced anything like this before. So this doll has reported, it has aggressive antagonistic voices, as well as you can also see slight movements and changes in facial expression from the doll.
Oh, nice.
Oh. Let's see, paranormal team, after asking to come in and do a reading of the doll, they reported having migraines and back pain caused by Harold. Others have claimed unexplained injuries, and Kanata even blames the doll for the death of one of his puppies. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's
you know what? It seems like the people that end up with these kind of dolls or items, not just dolls, but any kind of haunted item, is usually people that are like into the paranormal, right? Those are the ones that are interested in buying all these things.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like the museum, the Warren Museum, right? Where they have all those. That's different. That's for investigation purposes.
Well, yeah, supposedly with the Warrens, it's more of like keeping the stuff away from humans, like regular people.
That's right. So, I was going to get to public safety. That's right.
Yeah, public safety service.
Now there are two dolls that inspired Chucky and other types of movies like that. And the first one I want to talk about is Robert the Doll. And Robert the Doll is he's located in Key West in Florida. Now, this doll was owned by the Otto family a long time ago, and it's a little doll, about probably 3 feet, and it's dressed in a sailor outfit with like a little lion on its side.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, and the kid had this doll, and he put his own. The sailor outfit was actually the kid's clothing. So the kid owned it, and after a while, something strange started happening. And they heard all kinds of noises and things being trashed in the boy's room. So the parents went up to the room to find everything out of place, things thrown, chairs, pillows, toys, and the kid, I believe his name was Eugene. Eugene was said, Robert did it. He kept saying Robert did it and blaming the doll. So I think that kept happening, and all of a sudden, all the kinds of craziness started happening. Most of the things what you hear is giggling coming from different areas of the house, just like little like crazy giggles, footsteps, and let's see. This doll has caused accidents in the past, car accidents, broken jawbones, job loss, divorce, and a couple of other cornucopias of misfortunes. So,
how did it cause divorce?
I don't know, probably stress or whatever.
Give me one of those dolls.
So I guess the father was just tired of all these things that were happening to the family, so they got the doll and they put it up in the attic, and they locked the attic. And the kid never saw the doll for a long time. And as soon as they had guests, though, they wouldn't stop Robert the doll from causing mischiefs, because the guests would come in and they would hear up on top, they would hear
somebody walking and stuff.
So they hear the giggling again. And people outside passing in the neighborhood, they would look in the windows and they would see like a little person. Yeah, moving back and forth in the window.
You know, you know what? This reminds me of a movie that I don't know if you saw it. They actually made 2 films, part 1 and part 2. A movie called The Boy. Did you hear about that?
Mm-hmm. This might be the one that's related to this, right?
Well, I don't know if it's related to it, but in this film, the family has a doll, the same thing, and the little boy dresses like the doll, and they dress the doll like the little boy, and they start having all these things happen, like there's stuff moving and noises and all this. But in the movie, it had a twist. Spoiler if you guys haven't seen this. In the movie, there was actually somebody living inside the walls of the house that was causing all these things to happen and making all these sounds, and they thought it was the doll, but it wasn't. It was an actual person. So I'm thinking, what if it was the same thing in this situation? It wasn't the doll. It's like
the world's longest practical joke.
Well, I think in the film it was like a homeless person, and that's and they would come out to get food and all this stuff, and they thought it was the doll doing all these things.
Okay, and this is one of the things too. When I researched this doll, Robert the doll, it has 2 different stories. So some people say this happened, and other people say no, this happened.
So is it like some are paranormal and some is just like has a explanation, or?
Right, like I don't know if it's created explanation or what, but one of the stories of this is that the mom was Eugene's mom, and dad used to own a plantation, and the slaves, they had the voodoo background, and I guess the mom and the dad treated them wrongly, so the slaves gave Eugene the doll, but before that they had cursed it with an evil spirit. So that was
so the person that made the Chucky movies, did he get that's where he got the idea from? Like he
Yes, that's a great observation. Probably.
Oh, because it seems almost exactly the same. Yeah, but that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So but then there was another story where they bought it. They bought it somewhere, and it wasn't like that. It was just a plain doll that it was locked in the attic, and then another family moved into that house. And another girl, a little girl, was living there, and she went to the attic and found the doll. And that's so sorry happening. So there's all this.
So that was like a part. That was like the part 2 to it.
Probably.
The part 2. In the film The Boy, the second movie, the same thing happens. I think a different family moves in, and somebody else finds a doll, and they know the story of that there was a person living in the walls and all this stuff, but in that movie, they end up finding out that the doll is actually possessed, and the doll has actually been doing some of the stuff, in the first movie. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's all I gotta say.
I gotta check it out then. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, The Boy. They were okay.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
So this doll is now it's in another museum, and it's the number 1 attraction in Key West. Supposedly they say that, behind a glass door, behind a glass cage, and when people come up to it, sometimes people have this feeling of of course evil, and some people even put notes on the actual around the case, saying I'm sorry that I crossed your path or whatever, or already apologizing for things that might happen after they leave that place. So they just write little notes and put them on there and take off.
Oh yeah, I read about that one.
Yeah.
But you know what? It seems like a lot of these places, they almost use these dolls almost like the hook to attract people, because the Zach Bagans Museum in Las Vegas, it's the same thing. They have a you know what, now I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but it's either a doll or a painting of a doll or something, and this is the thing that that's like the main the main attraction. So
it's the money maker.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Who knows if it's true, but
I find that fascinating.
Yeah. I was gonna tell you, did you ever see that video on YouTube? I don't know if when you were doing some of your research, they have a video of this is in Mexico, I believe, of a older woman that has this life-size doll. It's like the size of I think like a 7 or an 8-year-old, and the thing is, this doll only walks when she holds her hand, the doll will start walking, and then other people have like they're like, let me see, I want to try it, and they'll grab onto the doll, and the doll won't move, and it's like an old like plastic, weird looking doll. You can check it out on YouTube, and it's funny because once she holds it, the legs start moving, and it'll start walking with it.
Check the palm. It seems like a switch on there with the battery and a servo.
Well, you know what? Some of the people on the comments were saying that supposedly, I don't know if it's true. If you guys know about this, you guys could put a comment on the video. Back in the 20s or the 30s, they made these dolls that have some kind of mechanical thing in their legs, where if you walk them a certain way, like rock them back and forth a certain way, it would start the legs. It would make the legs start moving. So that's one of the like what?
Yeah, like some sort of like inertia, almost like a perpetual motion.
Yeah. So that's one of the explanations to it. The thing is, a lot of the people that try to walk it, I guess they don't know how to rock it back and forth, so they just kind of try to go forward with it, and it won't move. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, it could be it could be a flywheel in there, and it probably just takes a certain amount of speed and timing to get it right.
Yeah. So.
Right. So coming up to the last one
Annabelle.
Of these dolls.
Annabelle.
Yes. Annabelle.
Did you watch the movie?
No, I didn't see it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie, I don't think.
Ran out of daylight.
Yeah, the movie, I don't think does the story justice. The movie is very, I don't know. I didn't like it, but they ended up making a second part called Annabelle Creations, which is a prequel to the first film. So I don't know if right now that you tell me, whatever you found out about Annabelle, after you tell us what happened, maybe I don't know if the second part was based on a true story, but in the second film, supposedly, like there was a dad changing a tire of a car or something, and then a car comes by and the little girl's in the street and she's holding her doll and it kills her, and then the spirit of the little girl goes into the doll. So I don't know if that's true. Is that true, or how was it that Annabelle got possessed?
That I don't think they mentioned that.
I went too deep.
You're blowing my mind right now, dude.
Oh, okay. So I guess the second film must have been just all fiction. But
well, they tried putting all those together. I did see a little montage or a little explanation of all the different movies, and they're putting the timelines together, like The Conjuring 2, Annabelle, and I thought that was pretty fascinating. They involved La Llorona in it, and they involved the nun, the nun. So they put them all together, and they showed a little bit about that clip that you're talking about. The dad is changing the tire in the desert, right? Like a dry area, and the dog gets broken and whatever.
That was a great movie. The second part, excellent movie.
Excellent. Yeah. So I gotta catch up on my scary movies. That's for sure.
So what happened? Like how did the Annabelle doll come? Like how did it get? Does it say anything about how it got haunted, or it was just haunted?
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't look any of that up. Well, I did try looking that up, but I just kept coming back to the same story again. Mm-hmm. About the student nurse back in 1968 who owned the doll. Having said that, it behaved strangely. A psychic medium, told the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased girl named Annabelle.
So was that Lorraine, the one that talked to the like in the film, or was it a different medium? Do you know?
I think it was Lorraine Warren. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure actually. This one might be different. This is a medium, but I don't know if it was her or not. Yeah, I guess this calls for further investigation. Mm-hmm. So the student and her roommate tried to accept the nurture of the spirit of possessed doll, but reported malicious and frightening behavior. A piece of parchment was found on the floor, and nobody had parchment. They said, "Help me!" There was kind of scribble on it that said, "Help me." And they're like, "Hey, this parchment paper's here, but none of us use this stuff." Somebody was coming in here and doing something. So what they did is they closed all the doors and they put Scotch tape on the doors.
Okay.
And they went to the carpets and the welcome mats and all, and they put them a specific way, so that if anybody were to step on the mats or open the door, there'll be some sort of evidence.
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
I thought you were going to say they put baby powder on the floor or something.
Little footsteps. Like Chucky.
Yeah.
Gets on top of a table
well, you know what? In the film, the Annabelle, the first film, I guess the nurse, one of the students ends up leaving like a little like a booklet and a pencil to see if the doll will leave notes. Did that happen in real life? In the real story?
That's probably no. I didn't read about that.
Okay.
I'm just, pretty much what I just reading here. Just have a little bit of notes from YouTube and a few other places that I read online. So kind of summarized versions of this story. Let's see right here. Oh yeah, going back to the story. The boyfriend of the owner was 68 or so. Had a dream about Annabelle, and woke up with 4 slashes on his chest and 3 on his stomach, and that's just pretty nuts right there. And he started bleeding, and so we had to take care of that. He went through a short, so there were actual not scratches but actual slashes due to the doll. So they were like, "This is crazy. This is too much already." So they decided to donate the doll, and since then it's been it's been in the Warren Museum.
So the Warrens were the ones that took the doll, right? After.
Yeah. So it is. Yeah, it was a Warren. Yeah.
So he's probably her, the one that was doing the investigation.
Maybe I don't know. But maybe more than likely.
Yeah, more than likely. And this doll now, I know they have it in the Warren Museum, right? It's like in a glass container and everything with a lock.
Yeah, and it says "Don't touch" or whatever, so just to stay away from it. When Lorraine goes near, she won't even look it in the eyes. It says it's too much to look at.
Yeah,
it's just too. Yeah, I guess they have a priest that comes in and
they supposedly bless the stuff like once a month or something. But I wonder who took over. I'm pretty sure the kids took over because Lorraine passed away already. She passed away, I think, like 6 months ago or something.
Yeah.
But supposedly they had the place blessed once a month, to make sure everything wouldn't leave the room and stuff. But the thing is, you know what? That's another thing about stuff like this, because supposedly they took all this stuff there to protect the people from these things attaching to humans, but then why make it a museum where everybody could go and look at the stuff? That's just kind of like the things that make you go But
so back to this, some of the things that Annabelle has done, being actually in this glass case. There was I'm not sure if it's the same priest that go around, but there was another priest that came in. I guess it was friends of the Warren that passed away first. I forget his name, the husband. And he told her, "Be careful, Father, with that. Don't touch that doll, okay?" So, anyways, the priest went up to the doll, anyways, and grabbed it and threw it against the wall, the floor, whatever it was. And he was proclaiming that God is more powerful than any devil or demon. And he did it right after he was not told to do that. So he left, and he was going back to the rectory. He got in his car, and as he was driving home, he got into a tractor-trailer accident. But he survived. His car was wrecked, but he survived. And they asked him what happened. It was like, you got into this accident. What happened? What was the reason behind it? It's like one of the last things he saw was in the rearview mirror. He saw Annabelle in the backseat of the car.
That's crazy. And it's funny because, like we were talking before we started filming, the Annabelle doll looks nothing like in the films. It's not some creepy looking monster, demonic looking doll. It's a Raggedy Ann, right?
It's in this Raggedy Ann doll, and in the movies, it's this creepy kind of like almost I don't know, it looks like porcelain or whatever.
It looks like a witch kind of.
Which is good and bad. Because I guess now you look at that doll, like the real Annabelle doll, you're like, this thing is not scary at all. This is not going to hurt me at all. But which brings me to my next Annabelle story, which is a young man and his girlfriend come up to the museum in a motorcycle, and they go into the museum and they're looking around and they see Annabelle, and the 20-year-old guy, he starts tapping on the glass. Come on, do something. Come on, scratch me around, because I guess you heard the story about the scratches or the slashes.
Yeah.
This is all baloney. And the
were those his exact words? This is all baloney.
No, I'm making those up. I was making that up, but anyways, he was kicked out of the museum by the caretakers. Like, get out of here, you gotta go. But they were still laughing and smirking and just whatever, like not fearing anything. So they drove off in a motorcycle, and supposedly the story is that guy never made it home. Within 3 hours of leaving the museum, he died or passed away in a car accident or a motorcycle accident.
That's crazy. And I mean, it makes sense that, when these people, make fun of these things, that they wouldn't be afraid because, you know, especially because of the way the real Annabelle looked. It's like if now they had somebody had a stuffed My Little Pony and they're like, oh, it's possessed, and you look at it and you're like, what the, this is a joke, come on. So it makes sense that they would make fun of it. But that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I guess the Warrens say that this doll is actually demonically possessed, so I don't think it's possessed by a spirit.
So it's not a human. It's not a human spirit.
Yeah, it's not a human spirit. It's a demonic spirit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or demonic essence. What do you want to call it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that concludes the haunted dolls.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, that was another thing that I read online is that some of these dolls that supposedly are possessed is because people would do rituals with them. So, you know, a lot of these haunted dolls, they're not like human, like, you know, like you said, not human spirits. They're demonic entities or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, who knows? But yeah. But anyways, you know, talking about these dolls, you know, that like Annabelle, you know, that they're not like scary looking or anything, and you know, are haunted. There was a time when, you know, when I was growing up, well, when we were growing up, we're like the same age. I don't know if you ever heard about this, or if anybody watching this video has heard about this, or remembers anything on this. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it even came out like on a TV show, one of those kind of like not Jerry Springer, but like Oprah, you know, where remember in those shows they would always have like psychics and all that stuff coming.
Oh yeah, back in the day, like the 90s and so forth.
Yeah, so
early 90s.
Yeah, so I think even in one of these shows they talked about this, and I don't know if maybe that's what influenced this whole thing for people to start believing, oh no, you know, this toy must be haunted. But I'm talking about like the Smurfs, you know, because I don't know if you know the background story of the Smurfs. Supposedly they're supposed to be like demons or something.
Really?
I don't know if you know this, but anyways, when I was younger, I used to like the Smurfs, and my mom purchased a bunch of little figurines for me. They used to have like the little rubber ones, like plastic or whatever, and you know, my cousin. Oh yeah, I wanted to do a shout out to my cousin Johanna. She's actually the one that told me about this because I was too young at the time. But supposedly, when I was at school, my mom was home, you know, and I guess she was cleaning and stuff, and she started hearing noises from the bedroom, like a lot of like scattering, people running around. So she went to check to see what was going on, and all the little Smurf toys were all over the room, like scattered everywhere. So you know, my mom freaked out. And you know, she grabbed them and threw them on the trash. And I didn't, you know, I never knew this happened until my cousin recently told me, because I posted the picture. You know how we were gonna do this episode on the San Pedro Paranormal Facebook page. So she's like, you should ask your mom to tell the story on the actual episode. I'm like, no, my mom's so religious, she wouldn't do it. Yeah. So I wanted to mention that because the thing is, there was a case that I remembered, and I told you about this. About a church where a little girl used to take a Smurf stuffed doll, a stuffed, like, not animal, it's a stuffed Smurf, and supposedly in one of the what would you call it? Not a like a sermon or something, I guess. And one of those days when they were at church, the little girl took the Smurf to church, and during church, I guess when the person was giving the talk, the I don't want to say it started talking, but they started hearing bad words coming from the stuffed doll. Like it was saying the F word and all this stuff. And I heard about this when I got a little older. And this is, you know, with me not knowing of what had happened to my mom, that my mom had experienced something with the Smurfs too. So, I mean, if anybody watching this knows anything about this or had an experience, you know, go ahead and comment, and, you know, we'll share it on a future episode. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure now, you know what I should have done? That I should have done some research on the Smurfs. Like if anybody else has been, like, had any kind of experiences. But that seems to happen with a lot of toys, huh? That have like some kind of a dark backstory. I think Pokemon is one of them. Pokemon is supposed to be kind of like they're supposed to be like demons with different powers. We should do an episode on Pokemon.
Well, there's little monsters, but maybe I don't know demons. But yeah, because Pokemon means pocket monsters. But yeah,
but there's a monster drink with the with the three slashes, and it says unleash the beast or something. We'll talk about that some other time.
Oh, that's right. Maybe that's an episode. There are all these markings, commercial logos and whatnot that also have a double meaning to them.
Yeah, because the monster drink, those 3 slashes it has, they compared them to Hebrew the Hebrew alphabet or something, and it's 666. That's what the 3 those symbols mean.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. So, and it also has like a little at the bottom. Like a upside down cross with a circle. So different, for a different time. But we'll do an episode on hidden meanings and on stuff like drinks and stuff.
We'll recap on the Smurfs too. They're demonic.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little research on the Smurfs because I'm pretty sure it must have been a pretty big deal back then. But
it was pretty popular. Everybody had the stuffed animals, the pencils, and the figurines at school. They would have the little Smurfs that would go at the end of your number 2 pencil at the eraser and writing with that. So it was very popular back then.
The Smurfs, like Garbage Pail Kids.
Those are my personal favorite.
Yeah, but is there anything else you found out about dolls, or that was
no, just this little bit of research that I did this week.
Okay. I mean, you know what, and I think, this is not just dolls, right? There's all kinds of stuff that spirits get attached to. Because remember you were talking something about there was also a person that owned like one of the most haunted items in the world. It's called something box, Debuk or something like that. They even made a movie about it. They made a film about that. I think it was called The Devil Inside Me or something like that.
Yeah, we're talking about purchases on eBay, and you can actually buy these possessed or haunted items.
Yeah.
And there's a whole YouTube series on this, I believe, right, where they open it up and they look at it or refuse to open it up. But yeah, there's a lot of things that come like that.
Yeah, there's a paranormal investigator that he ended up purchasing something, because on eBay, man, you can find all kinds of stuff, like haunted stuff. But he bought this box that I guess supposedly was haunted. And I guess the people that sell them, I guess they put some kind of enchantment on them. Like they'll do like a ritual, and that's what makes it possessed. But on YouTube, I forgot the name of this guy, but he gets his box and then he opens it, and he does like a recording of I believe like a month, where all kinds of stuff starts happening, even live while he's doing the videos. Like the lights will start turning off, flickering on and off, and you see stuff being thrown around. I don't know if it's real, but it looks real. And he ends up like on one of the episodes just leaving all his stuff, and he just leaves and leaves all the furniture and everything. But you know what, I've been very curious. I've had that curiosity of buying something haunted online.
Well, if you do, we're gonna continue this where I'm away and doing the Google Duo.
I never did it. I never did it, but I did find something on I believe it was OfferUp, and this was in Orange County. They were selling some kind of it looked like a little lampstand or something, and the person swore it's haunted, blah blah blah, and it was real cheap. I think it was like $20 or something. And so I contacted the person. I was like, is this real, or is this a joke? He's like, no, for real, it's haunted. Buy it, and if you don't believe anything happens, then I'll buy it back from you. And I was about to do it, and at the end I was like, you know what, forget it.
If it doesn't satisfy you with a good curse or anything bad happening to you, you get your money back. You may not be around to
get that money back.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know what I was gonna tell you before we finish this episode, I was actually doing when we were talking about the stuff we were gonna talk about on this episode, after I have hung up with you, I actually was doing a quick EVP here in the garage, because you still haven't seen this, right? Night Stalkers, the Wayne Poe movie.
I haven't seen that yet. No.
So I was sitting here, I hung up with you, and I'm like, you know what? I have my little EVP thing here and my recorder. I should do a EVP to see if, because the thing is, in this film, the investigators when they're doing the EVPs, the spirits keep on saying the director's name, Wayne Poe, over and over and over. So I'm like, you know what? The film's here. I'm sitting here. I have some time to kill. Let me get my EVP, my PSB7, the scanner. This little guy here, and so I turned it on. And before I turned on I had my recorder too, but I hadn't touched the recorder yet. So I turned on this thing, start scanning, and I could hear like going through the things. And I pick up the film and I get the recorder, and before I press the record button, it said Wayne Poe, like straight out. I didn't even ask any questions, but I mean it was clear as day, Wayne Poe, like clear, dude. And I ended up messaging Wayne right after that happened. I'm like, dude, the thing just said your name. And I tried to record it. So I turned on my recorder and I tried for like 15 minutes and it didn't come through anymore. But I was like, damn it. But now I know next time press record first and then start the machine. But
we definitely need to put cameras around in your studio with audio recording the whole time.
Hold on. Sorry about that. My computer was about to die and I had to turn on the power. But yeah, it's crazy, dude. It was crazy.
That's a shame we didn't get that recorded.
I know.
I wanted to share that with everybody today.
I know. It would have been cool. But anyways, anything else you want to add, Carlos, before we end episode 12? Oh, you know what? I did want to mention that we are going to be doing episode 13. I want to kind of make it special, because of 13 and everything. And we're going to be doing it on, what would you call them? Serial killers or?
Serial killers.
Serial killers, yeah. That especially the ones that have murdered people and blamed it on the devil. Carlos's favorite subject here.
You know what? I think it's better than the dolls.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it "The Devil Made Me Do It" for episode 13 next week. So that should be a good episode.
I just want to give out a shout out to Paranormal East L.A.
Oh yeah, Layla.
Thank you for the information.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the picture of the doll and also the backstory of it. Follow her on. You could follow her on Instagram or on the Facebook page. But anyways, I think that's it, Carlos. I think we're done. I think we did it. We did it.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll be here next week again. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the episodes. We've been getting a lot of feedback, and it seems like people actually like them. Even though we haven't been able to do any like real investigations because of the coronavirus. Damn coronavirus. But anyways, all right, guys.
If you want to recommend any ideas, or if we need to change anything, please email us and give us any kind of help or anything like that. That'd be we really appreciate that.
Yeah, you know what? We'll put a link on the bottom for our what is it? The email, and also for Paranormal East L.A. for Layla Bathory. But anyways, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thank you, Carlos, for doing this episode with me again. I know you're extremely busy right now, so. Oh man! All right, guys.
Spinning in my chair all day.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.